Hello and welcome to the WPF Delta Playoffs. This is the first round of the playoffs. My name is Scribbles, coach of the Colorado Cabalions, and this week we are up against a12. a12 and I have a pretty similar team. We share three Mons, Sinistcha, Dragapult, and Galarian Slowbro. I kind of watched through some of a12's replays, and he had a pretty consistent style. He really liked using a Sash, kind of mixed support Dragapult. And he also really liked bringing either Trick Room with Mega Drampa, obviously, or kind of just like a more offensive build with Mega Gardevoir. So trying to balance between those two sets was pretty difficult, and so this build is my best attempt at that. I wanted to kind of be able to answer either the Trick Room mode or kind of the Mega Gardevoir screens, kind of offense. He also tended to build a lot of sets that had very limited bulk, but a lot of offense. So it's something to watch out for on my end. I figure with some of my spreads, I needed to survive a lot of damage, essentially, kind of the Modest Max, Adamant Max, or I needed to be able to kill no bulk. So that was some of the logic behind my spreads. Overall strategy this week, I thought if I could get Corviknight set up, I'd be in pretty good position. And then I also really liked being able to use Tyranitar and Lycanroc kind of just as a way to threaten a lot of damage, and then also with the sand kind of chipping away at the Focus Sash Dragapult or some of his other Pokemon. So diving into the build, these Mons are never in order. I always kind of put them in random order so that I'm not giving away too much at team preview or something. I don't know, I think it's stupid, but that's what I do. First is Sinistcha, kind of max HP, really specially attacking Sinistcha with an Aqua Parry and Hospitality. So Hospitality supports some of my setup options, namely Corviknight, but also helps Tyranitar with some bulk, and Tinkaton also with a little bit of bulk. The Aqua Berry is just because it's really hard to survive fire type attacks if I'm Hospitality, so that made sense to me. Machigotcha Shadow Ball is good coverage. Rage Powder enables some of the setup options. Also, Rage Powder is really valuable with Tyranitar to get the fighting moves away, Corviknight to get the electric moves away, those type of things. And then the last move, I went back and forth on a bunch of different things. I considered Calm Mind, I considered Trick Room, I think I considered Scald for the Incineroar. I ended up going with Strength Sap, and the idea behind Strength Sap was that it'd give me a way to recover and also neuter the damage output from Incineroar. And so that's kind of what I ended up there. Like I said, a lot of HP, a lot of special attack, Token of Mountain Spadef, and then just some speed creep. This is for if my opponent speed creeps no speed Tyranitar. No speed Tyranitar is 91, so 93 gets me just a touch faster than that. Next set is Tinkaton. The idea behind Tinkaton here is just as a Gardevoir check. Gigaton Hammer, Shidoko, Gardevoir, even though it has terrible attack, just the huge power from that is really nice. Knockoff allows me to hit a lot of their opposing other Pokemon, so the dark typing into Galarian Slowbro and Dragapult is really nice. Removing items, so like recovery from Incineroar is good. And then Fake Out standard on Tinkaton, and then I went with Helping Hand. The reason behind Helping Hand is I wanted to pick up some additional damage rolls here and there, and again, it was kind of a fourth move slot where I didn't really see anything that was too useful. Tinkaton's attack is really pathetic, so unless it's Gigaton Hammer, you're hitting quad effective, or you're getting some utility out of it. Running an extra move there, it really doesn't feel great. I considered Light Screen. I have that on Dragapult, so I didn't need it there. I considered Feint. I considered a few different things, but ultimately Helping Hand seemed the most beneficial. I went with Lumberry to kind of deal with fast Dragapult with either Wisp or T-Wave, and also deal with Wisp from Rotom or Incineroar. Just there's a lot of status that my opponent could bring, and none of the other items are really great once I had Citrus Berry allocated to Corviknight. I could have looked into something like an Aqua Berry here, but I had that on Sinistcha, so Lumberry kind of gave me something. I don't think it's a great item, but it should do. The speed investment here outspeeds, I believe this is Modest Gardevoir I should be faster than, and then the rest is just dumped into attack and HP. Own Tempo, in this case, just to avoid Intimidate from Incineroar. Corviknight here, kind of the usual set that I've been running with one exception, is that I'm running Power Trip over Brave Bird, and the reason for Power Trip is Dark's a little bit better into the opposing team compared to Flying, and I didn't want to take the recoil. If I get to 5 stages of boost, so 2 bulk ups, and I pick up a Howl from Lycanroc, which we'll get to, I should be able to OHKO basically everything on their team and I'm not quite as prediction reliant if I'm able to click Power Trip instead of Brave Bird versus Body Press. It's also a little bit better into Rotom if it switches in, that type of thing. So I went with Power Trip over Brave Bird. Citrus Berry, HP for Citrus Berry recovery, a jump point Spadef, and then just some leftovers dumped in attack and defense. Next set is Dragapult. I went with a Cassette Berry Dragapult. My opponent can run ghost coverage on a few Pokemon, most notably their Dragapult. Clear Bodies to stop the Intimidate from Incineroar also helps against Scarf, Rotom's Electro Web. It's pretty standard on Dragapult. And I went with Phantom Force, Dragon Darts, Light Screen, and Protect with a very offensive set here. So the idea here is that Phantom Force puts my opponent in some awkward positions. So Dragapult next to Tinkaton, I can Phantom Force and get Ton Hammer turn 1 into Gardevoir, and that kind of pins them. It forces a switch out, or they basically end up dying. So they could either die from the Ton Hammer turn 1, or they could die from the Phantom Force turn 2. So it forces a switch. And then I had Light Screen just to enable Corviknight to set up, hopefully. Pretty simple set here. Otherwise, Dragon Darts is nice into opposing Dragapult. Just went with max speed just to give me a chance at the speed tie, basically. It's kind of interesting. I thought about a while for Phantom Force. If you're slower with Phantom Force, it's actually better. So you could kind of Phantom Force in the mirror. So it's something to consider, but ultimately I just wanted as much speed as possible. It also helps with some minus, not if I get minus speed, but if they're plus speed for whatever reason or anything like that. Next set is Tyranitar. This is just max HP with some token Spadef and then a jump point and attack with Rock Slide and Knockoff as my 2 stabs, and then Brick Break as additional coverage and to also be able to bust through their screens. Screens is something my opponent used a lot with Dragapult that I also really like support Dragapult. So I wanted to have an option to break screens. I had Brick Break on Tinkaton, but I didn't love it there because I wasn't doing much damage and I didn't really need the additional coverage. It wasn't going to do anything into Incineroar or anything like that. So I kind of went with this 3 attacks with Protect. I really wanted to fit Dragon Dance in this set, but I don't think I could justify dropping Protect, especially if my opponent can be running fighting moves on various Pokemon, and I wouldn't necessarily always have Sinistcha in position to help out with a Rage Powder. And then the last set here is Lycanroc. I've been using Lycanroc a lot. I've always liked Lycanroc. This set here is another Focus Sash set. Rock Slide, Close Combat are pretty standard on Lycanroc, and then I added Snarl to be able to minimize the damage from my opponent just by lowering the special attack. Is a lot of scary special attackers. And then Howl to help boost Corviknight to get to that 5th stage of 5th boost, basically. And then also helps with Tyranitar and Dragapult and Tinkaton, so I think Howl's really good for this team in general. It's over Protect. Protect on Lycanroc is very useful, especially when you're down to a Sash. But ultimately, I felt like if I was using Lycanroc, I wanted to be very offensive with it, and my opponent doesn't have a ton of priority available, so I didn't necessarily see the benefit with Protect on a really fast Pokemon like Lycanroc, especially in Sand. Hasty Nature, just because I don't really care about my defenses, and I'd rather get a little more damage from Snarl if possible. And that's the team. So the general strategy is I'm going to try and get Corviknight to at least +2/+2, maybe get a Howl on it, and then hopefully be able to win from there with Sinistcha providing redirection support and hospitality, and Tinkaton being able to fake out and provide helping hand, Dragapult with light screens, and then I also have a Sand mode, which doesn't hurt Corviknight and gives me the option to control weather, get a little bit of speed control via Sand Rush, and then hopefully be able to break through their team from there. All right, let's see how the battle goes. So I'm interested to see if he's going to bring Trick Room, which wouldn't be the worst thing. Okay. He did bring a slightly slower team. He's got Fake Out, but I do too. It could be Trick Room. It's my best play if it is Trick Room. He doesn't have a ton for Corviknight. I kind of like Tinkaton lead with Corviknight and maybe just start setting up. And in the back, Sinistcha's okay. Guitar's pretty good. I guess Sinistra. Probably T-Tar. He didn't bring Dragapult, which is fine with me. Yeah, let's go with these 4. This is kind of my strategy. I would have liked to be able to get Light Screen up for Corviknight, but we'll just see how this game goes. We kind of feel it out. Maybe figure out some items on their team. Gardevoir, Rotom. And Trace down tempo, doesn't matter. I think the best play here is to fake out Rotom. And then I could just start bulking up. The other option would be to switch into T-Tar. I don't really want to take a big hit. So yeah, I think fake out Rotom and just bulk up, just start getting stat boosts. Okay, so they do Mega. I'd love to see a Protect. We should get a sense if Rotom's choiced. Okay, no Protect. They could have T-Bolt on Gardevoir, they do, okay. That does a lot, but it's not going to kill me or anything like that. What does Rotom do here? Into my Corviknight. They're all the same stats. So T-Bolt. 65. I think what I want to do is I want to go ahead and Gigaton here, and I guess I'm just going to switch in This is interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and switch in T-Tar, or Sinistra, I mean. Okay, they do Protect, so they kind of got the read there, but it's not too bad for me, really. Yeah, just a Volt Switch. It's not gonna do anything. Okay, so they got the turn 1 read correct. Then Incineroar, okay. So they have access to Fake Out again. We can also just switch into T-Tar. I think I'll just knock off Incineroar's item and pivot into T-Tar. Yeah, I think that should be fine. The other option would be to Strength Sap Incineroar, which I also kind of like. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, that doesn't really do anything, and I'll get a lot of my health back here. So I have Pasho, okay. Oh, they're fast, Incin. Okay, so fast Incin with Pasho. All right, so I'll bring in T-Tar here. And I am going to go ahead and Mega and Rock Slide. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit... do I want to Shadow Ball in the Gardevoir or Machigacha? I'm going to Machigacha here. Fast Instant's actually kind of a problem. It could be Fast Instant fighting coverage, which would be really good against me. Okay, they switch out. That's good for me. And do Empoleon. That's fine. That does preserve Intimidate for them. That doesn't do, I mean, a decent amount for sure. Okay, I hit both, that's good. Cover up a good amount. Okay, Sand will finish off Gardevoir, so that's good for me. It means they get Instant back in, unfortunately. An Instant is speedy. They could go Rotom. Okay, they go Instant. I think the play here is to protect T-Tar. I mean, I guess the other option would be to like you kind of want to protect T-Tar and pivot in Corviknight. This could be bad, obviously. But I feel like Fast Instant might have okay, they protect with Instant, which is good for me. Alright, Empoleon has a fighting move. So I think here I am actually just going to switch in Sinistcha. And what does straight Body Press do into Incineroar? 49%, so that won't kill. Could Roost, could Bulk Up. What about into an Empoleon? 42 to 54. I think Empoleon's the bigger threat, to be honest. We get the Hospitality back up. Okay, does nothing. Flare Blitz into Corviknight. That KOs. Huh. That's very surprising. It's chunked by recoil for sure. I think I need to see. I don't think T-Tar can beat. I think I have to go for a Rage Powder and a Rock Slide here. Okay, that's fine. Interesting. Okay, so their Empoleon is faster than... And Incineroar's fast. So it's not Scarf Empoleon. I don't want to reveal Brick Break here, but I think I might have to. Maybe they get greedy and pivot Incineroar out. Okay, I tank that. I don't think Aqua Berry is going to save me here. Maybe they die to recoil. Okay, they will. Okay, they are Chople Empoleon. Oh, and Sand dies. Okay, so they're gonna take game one. I think I do want to pivot to Dragapult this game. The Brick Break Empoleon doesn't do really any damage, so I should not be as worried about that. Pasho Instant, okay. Alright, so I mean, turn one went badly for me. I got the predict wrong. Let's see here. I think I want some more speed. What's their mix up? Sinish is my best way of dealing with Rotom, but I don't feel like it's necessary. I don't like Corviknight, really. So I want to go with Tinkaton or Sinistcha. I think Sinistcha's better. I do like having Fake Out as an option. So bringing Dragapult in the back, I don't know how much sense that makes. I think it's under Sinistcha. I think I'll go with Sinistcha here. Tinkaton's good, but it just doesn't have any damage output. Aside from the Gigaton Hammer into Gardevoir, and I got that 50-50 way wrong, game one. Okay, so they went Rotom Gardevoir again. Okay, so they have Clear Body. I am going to Snarl and Light Screen here, I think. Let's just try and get ourselves really bulky. We should outspeed both their Pokemon. Unless Rotom Scarf, which I didn't see. They are. Which is very unfortunate. Hopefully this is enough for my Mons to survive. Dragon Ball died. That might be okay. I miss. Who do I miss? I miss Rotom. Oh, that's still obnoxious. Now I should be able to get T-Tar in. They are going to want to intimidate very badly. I save Lycanroc. I just Owl and Rock Slide. What does that look like? I want to say that I take the Electro Web. I do not. That is very bad. So I have Brick Break, but they can only Brick Break the one slot. I'm in terrible position right now, though. Yeah, this is not looking good at all. I guess they have Ice Spinner. I mean, Rage Powder is super obvious. I really want this, but I really want this light screen up. I think I should be faster than Polion with both. So I'm gonna go for Matcha Gotcha and Brick Break and Polion. Oh, they hit with both. Maybe they go Ice Spinner. Okay, they did just go Ice Spinner. It's not going to do very much. And I will heal. So it depends on what their last is, probably. And the burn, I don't think that matters. Oh, they're Choppa, that's right. But I'm +1, I think this still kills. Yeah. Okay, so 2v2. I am +1 T-Tar. They have Gardevoir. Sand's up, Light Screen's up. They do have Incineroar. Okay, that sucks. Alright, I'm pretty sure I just Shadow Ball. And Rock Slide. Fast and Sin was such a good bring. Okay, I'm not worried about that damage. Okay, I think that pretty easily puts it in range of, well, it definitely puts it in range of Rock Slide. Alright, I'm pretty sure here, do I have Rage Powder in case Incin has a fighting move? Kind of feel like I do. What's the other option? I either Strength Sap Instant or just Rage Powder. I guess I'll just go for that. Initially dying is really bad. If Instant has a fighting move, I'm in a lot of trouble. It does. Okay, that's it. Yep. Good game to my opponent. I was kind of close there at the end. I just lost to Mons too quick. Scarf Rotom, I don't know. I guess I faked out and it was faster than Gardevoir game 1. So I guess the better play would have been, I mean, the Corviknight was not the right play. I probably should have gone with the Lycanroc lead game 1. Just with, as soon as I didn't see, well, I guess I saw Diggersby. And Empoleon has a lot of trouble, but like super offensive Instant was really, really good into me. Especially with like the speed invest, and I even sped prepped a little bit. So it outspeeding me was certainly a problem. Yeah, that's your game to my opponent. And that'll be that for the season. So I'll see you guys next time.